Welcome to the deep dive. We take the sources you share with us and really unpack the most insightful nuggets. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this stack of material you sent over, all about securing your financial future. We've got articles, some research, even some of your own notes here, and it's all centered on, financial future planning. So our mission today is to cut through the noise, help you understand what's really essential for building lasting financial security, and we're pulling directly from this material you provided.
That's right. And these sources, they cover a lot of ground. I mean, from the real basics, the why of planning, all the way through to specific strategies, things like investing, managing debt, protecting your assets, and even that psychological piece, how we think about money. It's quite comprehensive. It really shows how being proactive now can build not just wealth, but genuine peace of mind down the road.
Okay, so let's unpack this stack. What jumps out first? Right at the top, the material gets into the fundamental idea,
Yeah.
right? Financial security, planning, how it connects to, well, less stress.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the analogy that kept coming up. This idea that proactive planning isn't just, putting out fires. It's framed more as laying the foundation, building the actual structure that gives you stability and allows for growth later on.
That makes sense. And it feels relatable, too. There's an example in there about getting an unexpected medical bill, but feeling okay about it, that sigh of relief, because you already had a funded emergency savings account. That feeling of security, that's powerful.
Exactly, which brings up the next point the sources explore. Why is long-term planning specifically so critical? It's not just presented as a good idea, but really essential. And they lay out, I think it was 5 key reasons.
Oh, yeah. The roadmap analogy they used. Trying to get somewhere big, like retirement or buying a house, without a long-term plan. It's like wandering aimlessly. And the reasons were goal achievement, hitting those big life milestones, risk management, being able to handle the unexpected, wealth building, harnessing compounding interest, factoring in inflation, which quietly eats away at savings, and ultimately that peace of mind.
Precisely. And the Sarah example in the material really highlighted this. She was young, just focused on her current spending, but then she learned about her 401k, grasped the power of compounding over decades.
Yeah.
And that was the moment the long-term view clicked for her. It changed everything.
Right. And the sources didn't just say plan long term, they gave actual steps, like create a full picture of your finances, assets, debts, income, spending, break down that big vision into smaller goals, short, medium, long term. And crucially, review and adjust your plan regularly. Life changes, right? So maybe quarterly or at least once a year. And, don't hesitate to get professional advice if you need it.
And all this groundwork, it sets the stage really well for the next big topic the sources transition into, which is arguably one of the most powerful forces shaping our finances, even if we don't always see it, our money habits.
Yeah, this section really resonated. How these habits, conscious or not, just fundamentally drive our day-to-day financial actions. They're either helping your plan along or kind of subtly undermining it.
What's fascinating is the story about John. He had a good income, seemed fine on the surface, but this one habit, dining out every single Friday without fail, no budget for it, it seems small, right? But that recurring drain actually held him back significantly from saving for a down payment. It just shows how those little consistent actions add up over time, positively or negatively, just like compounding interest.
The material really spells it out. Habits impact. Spending patterns. Impulsive buys can kill a budget. They shape saving and investment trends. Consistency builds wealth. Inconsistency doesn't. And they affect debt management, too. Paying bills on time boosts your credit. Missing them costs you money and stress.
So understanding your specific habits, that's step 1, isn't it? The sources suggest some practical ways, like diligently tracking your spending for a month or two, plus some honest self-reflection, really looking at your patterns.
And the examples they gave were so clear. Positive habits, things like budgeting, automating your savings transfers, spending thoughtfully, only buying what you genuinely need, researching big purchases, planning ahead. And the negative ones, impulse buys, ignoring debts, living beyond your means, that constant eating out, relying on credit for everyday stuff. They even suggested putting it in a table side by side.
Which really makes you ask yourself, as the sources suggest, what triggers your impulse spending? Do you know?
Oh.
Or do you have a non-negotiable saving habit built in?
Yeah, and the John example came back here. He didn't just notice the dining out. He identified the trigger end of the week, wanting to unwind. So he made a conscious change, maybe cut back to twice a month. That awareness gave him control, and he actually started seeing his savings grow. It's empowering.
Right. So building on habits, the sources then really emphasize constructing that solid financial foundation. And step 1 there is setting clear goals.
Goals are like the compass, totally. Without them, what are you aiming for? The Emily example was great. She had these vague dreams, travel, homeownership, retirement. But they were just dreams until she made them specific, measurable goals.
Exactly. She used that SMART framework the sources talked about. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So instead of just save money for travel, it became save $300 a month for that Italy trip in 18 months. Much more concrete.
Prioritizing them, writing them down, that makes them feel real, tangible. It helps build that roadmap we mentioned.
Okay, so once the goals are set, the next piece is the budget. The sources immediately pivot there. And it's not framed as restriction, more like a spending plan. You're telling your money where to go before the month starts, instead of wondering where it all disappeared at the end.
hmm The Tom example and the 50-30-20 rule were highlighted. That's 50% of income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings or paying down debt. Tom's process involved tracking his spending first, then adjusting categories based on reality, like, okay, maybe less eating out, and then reviewing that budget quarterly, staying on top of it.
And the core steps they outlined are pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
List all your income sources, categorize your expenses, fixed ones like rent, variable ones like groceries, and then the key is consistently tracking your spending against that plan and analyzing it.
And the final piece of this foundation, the sources really hammered this home, the emergency fund. It's presented as absolutely non-negotiable, your safety net.
That's Sarah example again, but this time with her car breaking down. A $1,500 repair she didn't expect. Because she lacked that fund, it went straight onto a high-interest credit card. Instant stress, instant debt. The fund prevents that spiral.
So the big question, how much? The material suggests aiming for 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. Sarah figured out her number and aimed for $5,000. Key tips were automate the savings transfers so it happens without thinking. And keep it accessible, but separate from your daily checking, like in a high-yield savings account.
Okay, so foundation built. Goals, budget, emergency fund. Now, the sources move into investing. This is framed as the real engine for wealth building over the long term.
And Sarah's back. This time, learning about the different options. The material explains stocks owning a piece of a company, benefiting from growth and profits. She started with tech stocks. Then bonds, basically loans to governments or companies, generally seen as safer but with lower returns, like her government bonds. Mutual funds where your money is pooled with others to buy a diversified mix of stocks or bonds. Good for beginners, instant diversification. ETFs, similar idea, but they trade like individual stocks on an exchange. Easy way to get broad market exposure. And of course, real estate property appreciation, rental income.
And what's really emphasized here is diversification. It's positioned as absolutely critical. Not just a good idea, but a core principle for managing risk. The logic is clear. Putting everything in one stock or one sector, that's risky. Spreading it out helps smooth the ride.
And Sarah's journey showed this perfectly. She started only in tech, got nervous during a dip, so she learned about diversification. She started mixing asset classes, adding bonds, ETFs, diversifying across sectors, tech, healthcare, consumer goods, and even geographically adding international funds.
Right, and this wasn't just about feeling less anxious. The sources show how it protects you if one area tanks, while still allowing for overall growth. Building on that, there's a big focus on long-term investment strategies. Patience is key. That comes through loud and clear.
Yeah, the Emily example illustrated this well. The principles were start early and stay consistent, let that compounding magic happen, adopt a buy and hold approach, ride out the market bumps, focus on quality investments, regularly review and rebalance, maybe annually, check if your mix still fits your goals, and stay educated. Keep learning, read, listen, follow the news. The landscape is always changing.
Okay, shifting gears now. Debt. This is a big one for a lot of people. Can feel overwhelming. The sources start by just breaking down the different types.
That Jason example was helpful here. He felt swamped until he understood the differences, like secured debt backed by an asset like a mortgage or car loan, versus unsecured debt, no collateral, usually higher interest rates like credit cards or medical bills. Student loans were called out as a specific type of unsecured debt, often with different terms, and revolving debt, like credit cards, where your borrowing limit renews as you pay it down.
Understanding these helps you see which debts might be okay, maybe even strategic like a mortgage, versus which ones are really dragging you down, like high-interest credit cards. Then the focus shifts to strategies for actually paying it down.
Right. Jason's approach, as detailed in the material. First, create a debt inventory. List everything balances, minimum payments, and especially the interest rates. Then, choose a repayment method. The sources mention two main ones: Snowball, paying off the smallest debt first for quick wins and motivation. Or Avalanche, tackling the highest interest rate first, which saves more money in the long run. He also set up automatic payments, avoids late fees, helps the credit score, and he actually negotiated lower interest rates, called his creditors, and some worked with him. That was surprising. And finally, he considered consolidation, maybe rolling multiple high-interest debts into one loan with a lower rate.
And just as important, maybe more so, the sources really stress preventing excessive debt in the first place.
Yeah, Jason learned that. His proactive steps became using his budget actively,
Mhm.
having that emergency fund ready, so surprises don't need credit, understanding credit terms before borrowing, limiting credit card use for everyday things, and just having a clear plan for managing any debt he did take on.
Okay, so we've covered building the foundation, growing through investing, managing debt. Now the sources move into protecting what you've built. This involves insurance, estate planning, and guarding against other financial risks.
Insurance. It's presented not as just another bill, but as that essential safety net. The Emily example, where her friend had storm damage but no insurance. That's a stark reminder.
Hmm. The key types mentioned were health insurance, obviously vital for potentially huge medical bills; life insurance, financial support for dependents. Emily got term life. Home insurance covers property damage. The sources noted checking for specific disaster coverage relevant to your area. Auto insurance legally required, but also protects you financially in accidents. And disability insurance, this one's often overlooked, but it replaces income if you can't work due to illness or injury. Really crucial.
Then, estate planning. The material really pushes back against the idea that it's just for the rich. It's framed as important for everyone. The Mike example, the small business owner, showed it's about planning for your assets, yeah, but also reducing potential conflict later and making sure your wishes are clear.
The essential components listed were: a will says how assets are distributed. Power of attorney lets someone make decisions if you can't. Healthcare directive, your medical wishes. Trust can help manage assets, distribute them, maybe offer tax benefits or help with minors. And beneficiary designations, making sure your retirement accounts, life insurance, etc., go directly to the right people. These often override a will, so keeping them updated is key.
And finally, in this protection section, guarding against broader financial risks, things like market crashes, losing your job, a health crisis, things outside your direct control.
Yeah, and the tactics listed here kind of circle back and reinforce earlier points. Maintain that emergency fund your buffer. Conduct regular financial reviews, that annual checkup. Keep educating yourself. Knowledge reduces fear and improves decisions. Stay informed on changes tax laws, regulations, market trends, and consult professionals when things get complex. Okay, the final section in the sources really shifts the focus inward. It's all about mindset, your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitudes about money, and how these deeply shape your financial behavior.
This felt so important because it's easy to focus just on the numbers. But the sources argue strongly that a positive mindset encourages confidence, better saving and investive habits, more informed choices. While a negative one, that can lead to self-doubt, maybe impulsive spending out of fear, or just feeling stuck.
The Lisa story was a powerful illustration. She grew up with a scarcity mindset. Money is hard to come by, it doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
And that caused her stress around money, even when she was earning well. Her breakthrough came from consciously working to reframe those inherited beliefs.
And the benefits of a positive mindset, according to the material, it builds confidence to take smart risks, like investing. It fosters resilience, helping you bounce back from setbacks. It influences your decision-making, less fear-based, more rational. And it helps you spot opportunities for growth.
One technique they really highlighted was practicing gratitude and abundance. It's not about pretending problems don't exist, but consciously shifting focus from what you lack to appreciating what you do have.
Sarah, from the earlier examples, adopted this too. She started a gratitude journal specifically for finances. Just writing down 3 things daily: having a job, seeing savings grow, even just having choices. Practical steps included celebrating small wins, like paying off a debt, acknowledging your skills, your earning ability, and even generosity. Sharing abundance can strangely make you feel more abundant.
And mindset is crucial for overcoming obstacles. Remember Jason with his student loans? Reframing that debt from just a burden to an investment in his future was key. It changed his whole approach, made him proactive.
So the strategies here were: reframe challenges, see them as chances to learn. Set realistic goals, break down big problems into smaller steps. Seek support. Don't go it alone. Get advice or just talk to someone. And keep that long-term vision in mind. It helps you push through tough times.
Wow, that really was a comprehensive journey through All the materials you shared. I mean, from the absolute fundamentals of planning and habits,
Well,
all the way through investing strategies, tackling debt, protecting everything, and then layering on that crucial piece about mindset.
it really does pull it all together, doesn't it? Showing that financial security isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's this blend of smart strategies, disciplined habits, protective measures, and your own internal view of money.
Yeah, it can seem like a mountain to climb when you look at it all at once, but breaking it down like this, piece by piece, with those examples from the sources, it makes it feel much more, I don't know, doable, relatable.
Absolutely. Each element builds on the one before it. It creates a much more holistic way to think about taking control of your financial future. It feels empowering, actually. So, as you, our listener, reflect on this deep dive into your sources, here's something to maybe chew on. If cultivating a positive money mindset truly can unlock opportunities and build resilience, what's just one small shift in perspective you could maybe try making today about your finances? One small shift that might just change your path in the long run.